How's it going, everybody? I'm Unbreakable Fear, and I'm here for another video. This is a Boruto video, so let's get right into the topic. This is my Boruto Shinobi Strikers Top 10 Improvements. Just a little notice beforehand, some points may overlap other points at times, as well as some points will take longer to go through, just because I like talking about them. With that being said, let's move on to the first slide. Number one is fairly straightforward. CAC improvements, more detail and customization to make your character feel unique. First, we got some basic things. Add more hairstyles, colors, and the same with eyes, body types, and face paints, because we've got some repetitive ones just with some different colors right now. And as for body types, there's only a couple that look human-ish. The other ones looks like a toddler with a fully grown man head and whatnot. Next is add different headband locations on your CAC, such as the legs, the arms, the waist, and the neck, because characters like Shikamaru has had it on his arm, Rock Lee has had it on his waist, and Hinata has had it round her neck. So I feel like that is a must-have. It's a very minor thing, and people were wanting it even at the beginning of Shinobi Strikers. Next is add the ability for people to pick their character's chakra release type to a maximum of 2, with the chance to learn a Keki Genkai. Now, if you don't know, the chakra releases, you've got fire, wind, lightning, earth, and water. You can dub yin and yang in there with them as well, so I'd probably have those two there as picks as well, but the possibility to get a Keki Genkai would be something like if you chose wind and lightning as your preferred chakra releases, you would more than likely eventually get to the point where you could use storm release. Same with if you did earth and water, you'd get wood release. And finally for this slide, the ability to assign your own attribute points to your CAC, so yet again, they're more unique and customizable. So if you want to, you could max out health and poise, so you never flinch, or chakra and stamina, so your jutsus last longer, or come back faster. Comment down below what you liked and didn't like about slide number 1. Let's move on to slide number 2. Slide number 2, Shadow Clone Jutsu, more than just a substitution. Now this is one dear and dear to me. Watching Shinobi Strikers as it progressed, I was a bit disappointed when I found out that Shadow Clones are just a substitution, a way to get out of somebody attacking you with a Chidori or just a basic melee combo, and I believe they are way more than just substitutions, because they've been with us from day one. So let's get into it. Shadow Clones are the most iconic jutsu in the Naruto/Boruto franchise, next to Rasengan, so much that people that have not even seen the show or read the manga would still be able to tell you, yeah, that's the one where that guy makes clones of himself, right? In terms of how they should be used or how they should be handled, is anyone's guess. The Shadow Clones have done so many different things throughout the series. You could pretty much put them in any other ballpark other than just substitution, because substitution is a thing of itself. But this is how I've chosen to tackle Shadow Clones. That is, Shadow Clones will function as basic combo extenders and extra lives. As combo extenders, your basic square or your basic X melee combos will be expended with your extended with your clones either throwing you, jumping in front, helping you do triple jumps. They might even use something similar to what Boruto uses, and Gale Palm, to launch either the primary user or another Shadow Clone forward to the enemy at breakneck speeds. I also believe that there should be 2 types of Shadow Clones in the game. That should be the regular Shadow Clone Jutsu, where you can make up to about 3, and then the multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, where you can make up to about 10 clones. Now, quickly backtracking to the extra lives part, I forgot about it, but it's fairly straightforward. If one of your clones gets hit with a Chidori, a Fireball, a basic melee combo, they poof. You didn't get hurt at all. You're not going to get repercussions. They're basically extra lives, bodyguards, what have you. I could talk about Shadow Clones until I'm blue in the face, but comment down below how you would handle them, what you liked about the slide, and what you didn't like about the slide. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is going to be quick and simple. Ninja tools, the more the merrier. Now, there are lots more ninja tools and weapons in the series than what's in the game, Shinobi Strikers, and the main one that combines them both, weapon and ninja tool, is none other than puppets. Puppets, although not that common, are a fun and creative ninja tool slash weapon if you could customize your own puppet, as in the arms, the legs, the bodies, and the weapons that consist inside of it, as well as its coloring. That would add even more uniqueness to the game and your CAC if you thus chose to be a puppet master. Now, a few things. I would limit it so only one player could have one puppet. You can't pull a Conqueror and have 3. Uh, Another thing is you should probably be able to only get parts of puppets from puppet users, so add people like Conqueror to the game as a master, and when you do training with him, he could reward you not with cosmetic items, but parts for your puppet. That being said, some lesser ones that probably should be in the game would be Choji's triple pills that helped him in part 1 to do partial expansion, super expansion, and then form his butterfly wings where he totally destroyed the person he was fighting. And the other one is kind of a controversial one, but Gaara's Gourd. Some people don't see it as a ninja tool, but it does help him out in battle. It does hold his sand, so it has a practical use, so it's a ninja tool that helps him do his ninja business. Moving on from 3 to number 4. Comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like, and if there's something other than puppets you would want to see in the game. Number 4, Ninjutsu. We've only scratched the surface, people. There are hundreds, even thousands of jutsus out there shown in the Naruto and Boruto series. So why is it that we only have a petty few in Shinobi Strikers? Well, this is probably because of balancing issues and overall laziness, in the sense that it would take too much time before a deadline would have to be met. Now this is where the first slide plays a part in this. You can pretty much, if you had the time and the deadline wasn't too quickly, have all ninjutsus, taijutsus, genjutsus, and all the rest in the game, and a easy fix is what chakra releases your CAC happens to have. It will limit how many they can have, also balancing out the overall OP factor of certain combinations that could occur without this method. Like if you picked Fire and Wind Release, you could do the Fireball Jutsu and the Rasengan, but sadly not the Chidori because you do not have the affinity for Lightning Release Chakra. With the fact your CAC has releases and can only do what those releases allow, there is no need for a class system anymore, so no attack, no range, no heal, and no defense types. So a lot of people would be happy with probably this part because a lot of people don't like defense types and a lot of people don't like attack types. I don't see a lot of people hating range and heal types just because they're so useless. So moving on. So this way, I think one person, no matter what, has an even chance in a 1v1 situation, because as it stands right now, in Shinobi Strikers, if you're a heal type, just about everyone and everything will kill you. Because, I mean, 1v1 with a defense type, you're gonna die. 1v1 with an attack type, you're gonna die. 1v1 with a range type, you're gonna die by a distance. So with that being said, what kind of jutsu would you kind of implement into this game, or if there's a jutsu already in the game that you like, how would you fix it, buff it, or nerf it? Personally, for me, Spiked Human Boulder is my favorite jutsu in the entire game, I would fix it in the sense that I should allow it to go from wall to floor back to wall again freely without having to deactivate it and reactivate it on the wall. I just feel like it should have free reign to travel up walls and traverse walls, ceilings, trees, everything of the rest from one position. Let's move on to number 5. Coming down, what you liked, what you didn't like. Let's move on. Characters, DLC and secret characters alike. Now, this is where we get into some Boruto nitty gritty. We all know there is a bad lack of Boruto characters in Shinobi Strikers. For a game called Naruto to Boruto, like all we have is Team 7, Boruto, Sadara, and Mitsuki. So I think now's the best time to add some of Boruto's classmates. Inojin, Iwabe, Wasabi, Namida, and Sumire are some of probably the best picks for this. And for secret or DLC characters, Yuri and Shinki are maybe even Konohamaru, as he is the leader of Boruto's team. All of these characters have fun things we've seen before, and new unique jutsus we've never seen before, to my knowledge. Secret characters would be hidden in missions, master quests, or needing certain criteria, requirements met in multiplayer. So such things as maybe if you complete every little goal in a mission, like defeat the enemies in 4 minutes, do it without healing, that kind of stuff. You fill all those categories, then maybe a new secret character will drop in and you'll have to fight them. If you beat them, bish bash bosh, you're good, you're won, you've unlocked them as a VR master. Moving on to the last little segment here, Yuri and Sumire, both have creative and fun ninjutsu and summoning. With Yuri's bubble mines that he can lay everywhere and basically protect himself from any and all attacks, besides a win release bullet from a ninja tool. Boruto's a cheater, hashtag. Yeah, and Sumire with her Nue summon. He's a very unique summon, he's very unpredictable, and he could possibly work as the longer he's out, or the more damage he does, or the more damage you do as a particular player to a person. Nue will grow, sapping chakra, and he could eventually enter his like Great Dane sized form that we see during the arc with Jugo in the anime and manga, I guess. That being said, what you like about this one, what didn't you like? Comment down below, and if there's a favorite Boruto character you would like that I did not mention here, mention it down below too. Let's move on to number 6. Master missions. This time your training will pay off. This is fairly straightforward. Master missions should be one of 2 stages, completing a mission given by them that proves you're worth them training. You then learn their jutsu, and the second training is you beating your master with the jutsu. So it could start off with you testing it out on dummies, then some bandits, and then the final stage would be you basically taking on your master as somewhat of a mini-esque boss battle. And if you beat them with the jutsu, you learn it, you can then use it in multiplayer. And one thing that wouldn't hurt is if the Masters had somewhat of a friendship meter similar to the Xenoverse games, where you could get bonus things, maybe bonus side quests, bonus jutsu, bonus items from it as well. Just in some little brackets here as a side note, their missions shouldn't be just a like repeat copy and paste of the D and S, the D2 S rank missions from the actual VR room itself. Their missions should be unique to the master, like whatever you're using. Like, for example, with Jiraiya here, the first stage of the mission would probably be you running around the Leaf Village, taking pictures of like some cuties and whatever, and then bringing them back, giving them to him. Second stage, he teaches you Rasengan, Bish Bash Bosh, Bob's your uncle. That's all done. fairly quick slide. What would you like to add to Masters? Do you think this two-stage thing's a reasonable thing, or would you do something else? Comment down below. Also comment down below if you like the slide, if you didn't like the slide. Let's go. Number 7, missions themselves. More variety and less repetitive missions. I think we can all agree the missions we have right now in the game are boring and get repetitive. So I was thinking the missions should take a approach like the anime. Like a D rank mission could become a B rank mission. And we could also have fun, relaxed missions like catching a cat or a dog, maybe something as easy as escorting a fisherman to his boat. From D to C missions, they should be easy, like cakewalks, pretty much. Not that much effort or thinking needs to be done. But for B and higher, the difficulty should increase to make you rethink and come up with a different strategy. Like for the D's and C's, if you were going through just spamming Rasengan or some kind of defensive jutsu, that works for those kind of missions. But then the higher missions, the AI is probably a bit smarter. They do some different ninjutsus. Maybe some even have some summons. It will make you rethink your whole strategy and how you go into those missions. And probably one of the most disliked missions in Shinobi Strikers is probably right here, the protect the village gate. I know for a fact that I got really sick of that, especially in the A to S rank categories. They killed me. Anyway, comment down below if you agree that you don't like the gate missions. Let's move on to number 8. Kicking things off with number 8 with new game mode idea numero uno. Episode 4 was a huge inspiration. This is a game mode made right from episode 4. If you remember, the boys and girls got into a fight. Again, surprise. So Shino Sensei, their homeroom teacher, decided to set up a capture the flag game in the school. Their objective was to reach the top of the school, the roof, and get the flag. But the school was also set up with traps, things like paper bombs, paralysis tags, probably something as simple as some hallways would get closed off automatically. Something not too dangerous to ninja students, probably very dangerous to kids nowadays, in our time, but not dangerous for them. Lastly, when a team member was captured or knocked out, they were eliminated. So when people like Iwabe and Denki were either knocked out or captured by the girls, we didn't see them come back as a final hurrah at the end. So it'd be somewhat a search and destroy. You're taken out, you got to spectate your friends. How it works. You would pick a side, boys or girls, and for both sides, you could play as, for the girls, for example, Sarada, Sumire, Wasabi, Namida, Chocho, and Yodu. I do know Yodu is from the tuning exams, and she's from the Cloud Village, but the girls had kind of lacking numbers in comparison to the boys, so I felt like adding someone here for the base roster just to flesh things out to kind of make sides kind of even. And for the boys themselves, you have Boruto, Iwabe, Denki, Inojin, Shikadai, Metal, and Mitsuki. For Mitsuki, I know he turned up, I'm pretty sure, a couple episodes later, or probably the episode after this. But if he knew that there was a game mode with Boruto in it, and he wasn't in it, he'd have my head. So, moving on to possible DLC characters. DLC unlockable characters would be people such as Yuri and Shinki from the Boruto series, and basically all of the Part 1 Naruto class. Meaning, we're talking about Kiba, Shino, Aino, Choji, Naruto himself, Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata. All those favorite Part 1 kids that we all knew and loved. Moving on, for itself, the map, the school itself, would be very large. It would kind of have to be very large, scaled up for kind of gameplay mechanics. So you could do things such as hide in classrooms, run on walls, or the ceilings, even climb out of windows to move to a different floor, more stealth-like. But be careful, there could be traps there too, so it could be a risky business trying to be some stealthy kind of people. Now, next is how the characters work. I mean, that's probably a big question, and I've got two examples basically right here. First off, Iwabi and Chocho, for the respective groups, respectively, the boys and the girls. They are your team's backbones, they're the tanks, they're the people that will break through barricades and create barricades, because Iwabi himself can make mud walls to block off rooms and hallways. So, just like in the beginning of the episode where he blocked off the girls for a bit, he could do that in tight corridors. He could even trap some people, like if somebody was to sacrifice themselves by luring the girls one way, he would trap them there. But no fear, ladies, because you have Chocho. With her partial expansion jutsu, is able to break down the mud walls Iwabe creates, as well as some steel gates, like sheet metal, and also some walls in particular. So they are your backbone, so if you lose one, the other side's going to have somewhat of an advantage over you for the most part. For the walls, you could basically, if you didn't have Chocho, you could destroy them with a lot of paper bomb tags, as Namida creepily suggested, if you remember that part. And the last example is kind of the brains over the brawns here. Sarada and Shikadai are your brains and the most important players. See, now they would have the passive ability to see traps, scrolls, and anything that could be used to slow down or trap your opponent, as well as help your teammates. Such as, I'm going to use the example, Shikadai, you, Inojin, and Boruto, just like in the show, locked in the room. He, just like he did, would point out there are scrolls, summoning scrolls there that summon weapons, traps, summon lesser known creatures that don't need a specific contract. The same with Sarada, she'd be able to see things like traps along hallways and maybe even potential choke points or anything like that, something that would be commonly known as, this is a good place to trap somebody. Another thing Shikadai would probably be able to do is, since Denki is on the boys' side, he'd probably be able to spot things like electrical outlets where Denki could plug in his laptop and then close, like the sheet metal gates, set off the sprinkler system, all that kind of stuff. So, do you think this game was a good idea? Is there anything you would wish me to elaborate on? Some of these points are going to be shorter, and I might even make them their own video in the future. But that being said, comment if you liked it, comment if you didn't like it. Let's move on to number 9. Slide number 9, a new game mode idea. Number 2, I know people might not like this, but it's a battle royale. I know a lot of people don't like battle royales, mainly because Fortnite basically killed the genre, and a lot of games tried to make Fortnite ripoffs, which was a bad idea. Make your own battle royales, it's good. Let's get into the nitty gritty. The roster would consist of your CAC, obviously. Your created character would take a slot in this, and the main Boruto class. And the other side, Boruto characters such as Shinki and Yuri. And the other making up the rest of the roster would be the Part 1 Naruto cast. This would be so much for the reasons for the character's size and hitboxes would be around the same. Some people like Shinki and Chocho would probably suffer a tiny bit more because they are bigger characters, but not too much bigger, like the size of, adult Sasuke, adult Naruto, adult Choji. This is basically just for balancing issues and to minimize a lot of problems. The team size when you load into the games would basically be just like the anime itself, and if you've never really watched the anime, think of it as Apex Legends. It's a team of 3, no matter what game mode you're going into, a team of 3 all the time. And map sizes themselves, I would want them to be somewhere roughly around like the size of PUBG maps, but in terms of the world itself, they would be the full scale maps of the Leaf Village, the Mist Village, the Cloud Village, and the Sand Village, respectively, all the separate maps, all fully opened up. You could go from one side of the city to the other, hide on the stone heads of the Hokages in the Leaf Village. Anything you wanted, no areas would be cut off, and this would add variety to different matches, so you'd most likely never be on the same map twice, and it would always be switching it up, so you'd probably never have two games go exactly the same. Next would be how it would work, and that is there would be a maximum of 70 players per match. Tailed beasts would work as the storm in the way they riddle the zones with beast bombs and total destruction. So basically, every 4 or 5 minutes or so, this time would obviously decrease as the match went on, but every 4 or 5 minutes or so, there would be somewhat of a designated area, possibly with chibi heads of the tailed beasts that are there at the time, pulsating, saying what area is about to get demolished. And after it gets demolished, you can't go back there, because if you do, you're automatically going to be targeted by the tailed beasts. You'll blow up, and they just keep encroaching inland anyway. So even if you were able to be a dodging master, you would eventually get squished. Moving on from that, all the characters would have a permanent ability that would be on a cooldown, like Boruto's Shadow Clones, Iwabe's Mud Wall, and Mitsuki's Snake Lightning, to name a few. They'd always be on cooldown, they couldn't be getting rid of or swapped out for anything else, so like Boruto, he'd have charges with his Shadow Clone, like 3 or 4, and then after he's used them and they've been proofed, then the charges need to refill. The same with the mud wall. After you put the mud wall down, when the mud wall gets destroyed, then it will recharge with the snake lightning. After the snake lightning has left Mitsuki's body, then it will start to recharge. Moving on to every character, like when they land and they start the match, every character is going to have a scientific ninja tool on their hand. I'll probably, just because let's just say for the juncture of this, it will be on the right hand of the character because I'm right-handed. With it, they can pick up Jutsu scrolls that will act as their ammo and weapons in combat. So you'd pick up scrolls from various varieties and rarities. So going anywhere from the common grey-green Rasengan that you could possibly get 5 charges from, to possibly the purple-esque things that are purple lightning and water dragon and everything in between. So yeah, that's there. They would function as your weapons in combat. Like you would have basic punches and kicks, as well as your perma ability, but they could only get you so far, and more along lines would be pretty much worthless if you got into like the final 5 or the final 6 rather. So having the other jutsus there to back you up would be crucial for these circumstances. Before we get to the next slide, comment down below if you like this slide, if you like the idea. Comment down below if there's things you would change, or things you don't think should even be implemented. It's all fair. Let's move on to the final slide. Number 10, Masters. We all knew this was coming after the Master Missions, but we never knew when. Masters, more content. A master should be more than just a way to get jutsu. You should be able to talk with them, build up a master meter to learn more of their jutsus, and maybe get given a rare weapon. I also think you should not be able to see your master's jutsu. He or her will teach you. He or she will teach you, rather, my bad. For one, it makes it feel earned, and also would make you train more with them, just to see what your next jutsu would be. Now, Naruto, the MC, has more jutsus than just 3 Rasengans, right? Because, I mean, he's shown off Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, Transformation Jutsu, Sage Mode, and Summoning, not to mention Sexy no Jutsu, his most powerful jutsu. So it's fair to say all the masters, old and new, have way more than just 3 jutsus they can teach you, because, I mean, if you've gone through the entire series, I'm pretty sure people don't only just use 3 jutsus for the entirety of the Naruto series, being Part 1 and Shippuden and all the movies. I'm pretty sure they use more than 3. I think maybe 4.5, but definitely more than 3. Um, the jutsus you learn from your master should be as powerful as your ninja rank, so Genin, Chunin, Jonin, your overall level, 10, 20, 30, 100 prestige, and how many D2S rank missions you have completed, showing off how capable you are and what kind of learning level you're at would determine how powerful these things could be. Now, let's talk about some new masters from Boruto and a jutsu they could teach you. First off, Yuri. I should probably make this point now. I know it's near the end, but I've always pronounced him like I've always pronounced his name as Yuri. I don't know if it's like Uri or anything like that. I've always pronounced it Yuri, so apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong. First is Yuri and his bubble jutsu. I feel like he should teach you his jutsu, but the fun part is each bubble has a different effect, like green for healing and purple for poison, etc. etc. Next is Sumire. After you get her friendship meter full, or master meter full, I would guess, she'll teach you how to summon Nue, and that would be a very unique thing, and also a unique way to get a jutsu from a master, because Nue is very heavily tied to Sumire, I think permanently. But in the terms of a game, it would be like, oh, you're a great friend, you're trustworthy, so I'll teach you how you can summon Nue and stuff like that. So he'll start off small and possibly grow into the Great Dane form he has. Maybe depending on how strong your OC is, he'll already be in that form. And lastly, Wasabi. Would teach you her cat cloak jutsu that would give you a super speed boost and give your basic attacks a bleed effect. So it was just impressive, and I gotta say, one of the highlights of their little Genin test was seeing Wasabi use her cat cloak and just demolish the teacher. Now I'm just in brackets here to finish things off. I believe that masters should be ranked D to S to show how difficult they are, how powerful and rare their jutsus will be. So I put Yuri and Wasabi in C rank and Sumire in B rank because of how unique and versatile Nue is as a summoner himself. I mean, if it was personally up to me to be 100% biased, I'd put someone like Wasabi in A rank, but trying to keep things very minimal here. With all that being said, hope you enjoy, and there's just one last thing for me to say. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'll catch you all sometime soon. Peace out.